So in this video, we have a woman here who's going to try and explain why men are dating less attractive women for peace, right? As if this is something new. Like, men have always been doing this. But before I play this video, let me say this. There are a lot of women who think that men are very complicated people, right? When in reality, we know that's not true, right? Men are very, very, very simple, right? It doesn't take much to make us happy. However, in the minds of women, we know that in the minds of women, it's very chaotic. So when they try to understand men, everything that comes out of their mind is very complicated, okay? So let me just play this video and then let's see what she has to say, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Said that I saw a post that said that men are dating more for peace over beauty now, and if that doesn't tell you how dense and how black and white these men think, is that they're correlating more a beautiful, attractive women to be more difficult and more demanding. Instead, what men are really trying to say is that they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. They want to be able to do certain things and you not being able to say anything about it to them, okay? In their mind, they think to themselves that if I date a less attractive person, I can get away with more. They won't be as demanding. They'll be more peaceful. When in reality, so many men give women the chaos. They're the ones that bring the chaos. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to see their actions. They don't want their fragile ego to be hurt because they have been propped up their entire lives by society. And when a woman calls them out for their behavior, they don't like it.
Like, first of all, when have men been propped up by society? Like, I mean, society doesn't even care about men. Like, men are disposable goods. Like, when you talk about propped up, like, men, like, whenever men have been propped up by society, like, I understand that men built everything around here, but when it comes to propping men up, like, people really don't care about men like that. So when you hear that, it's just like it's almost like she's rage baiting. It's like the stuff that's coming out of her mouth is just like, just a bunch of nonsense and saying stuff that's just not true. But you talk about accountability. We all know when it comes to accountability, most women are allergic to it. They just have no idea. They're allergic to the word accountability, okay? Because that puts a responsibility and onus on them to be accountable for the things that they do. But when you hear this stuff, when you're talking about propped up by society, we all know that's just nonsense.
So instead, this is how black and white they think. Well, if I go for someone easier and who demands less, which is someone that's less attractive, she won't need so much from me. And they would rather do that than own up to their mistakes and actually change as a man. They would go for someone that they're less attracted to because they don't want to change who they are. That is how black and white they think. They won't even go for even like the person that they're ideally more physically attracted to. They will be with someone less attractive just because that they will put up with more, because these men want to be able to get away with cheating. They want to be able to get away with going to strip clubs. They want to be able to get away with a lot more behavior with someone who won't demand as much because it's easier. It's just simply easier with how these men want to date these days. So it's really wild how these men are thinking. Don't even know how to go about it, honestly, anymore. Men cease to amaze me every single day. I saw a post.
She sounds like a person that's clearly frustrated with the lack of results that she's getting, right? She's clearly coping, right? Because if you listen to this, right, on one hand, right, I used to hear, we always talk about, you hear a lot of women talk about how shallow men, right? Shallow men are, they're always going for the most attractive woman, right? And look, we understand, like, men are very visual creatures. Like, we understand, we love beauty, we love attractiveness, right? That's nothing new. However, like, on one hand, you talk about how men are shallow because they go for the aesthetics, the most attractive women, right? And then on the other hand, she's here talking about the reason why men go for like less attractive women is because we want to get away with things. We want to get away with cheating. We want to get away with certain things. So like, which one is it, right? Because we all know that men are very visual. We like attractive women, okay? But she's here talking about how men are, they go for less attractive because they want to get away with certain things. Like, they don't want to be held accountable because a more attractive woman is going to hold them accountable. That's just not true. Right? Like, it's clearly not true. Like, for me, when I'm listening to her, she's clearly coping because she's a person that's clearly not getting the results that she's wanting when it comes with the type of man that she wants. So a lot of these women, they have to come up with reasons, right? Like, if they're not attractive, if they're not getting the results they want, it's more people like to look externally. Like, it's got to be some other reason instead of looking at themselves and say, okay, what am I doing wrong that's causing me not to get the results that I want in life? Okay, so, and look at her. right? Like I'm saying, like she's mid, right? She's not ugly, she's not super attractive, right? She should be able to get a decent guy, okay? She should be able to attract a certain decent guy. However, we all know that she's not looking for a guy that's on her level, right? Like she doesn't want to settle like a lot of these women do. They want to look at the top echelon man, the man that has plenty of options, right? When it comes to the type of women, they're gonna look way better than her. Okay, but she's not selling for a guy that's on her level. Okay, she wants the top echelon guy that has a bunch of options, and then if she gets that man, she'll complain about all the options that man have. And it's just like, and the thing with men, we understand, like when it comes to like looking for a certain type of woman we want to be with, maybe in our younger years we're going to look for the most attractive woman or whatnot, because we like the eye candy, we like that nice eye candy on our wrist. But when it comes to understanding, all right, we're looking to settle down, maybe build a family with, we understand that the most attractive women tend to be the most craziest women, right? They tend to be the most difficult to deal with, and men don't want to deal with that type of chaotic woman, right? So what we'll do is that we'll go down, we'll settle down and something, settle for a 6 or 7, and say, all right, as long as she's able to be a good wife, a good mother to my children, and I don't have to worry about fighting with her all the time, and she brings me peace. A lot of men would deal with that. Like if you ask a man, like, would you deal with a 10 who's annoying, who's chaotic, who's always nagging you and everything, or would you deal with like a 6 who's peaceful, pleasant, she's nice and kind, and she'll be a good mother to your children? Most men would take that 6 all day, every day, because we're just looking for peace. We're not looking for so much. Like it's not that complicated when you're talking with men. Right? We just want peace. Like it doesn't take much for men to make men happy. Okay? But for her, she's, when it comes to this, whatever she's dealing with, it's just for her, she's not getting the results that she wants when it comes to finding a good man. Because you hear it at the end, the way she's talking about, she's just like, what? It's almost just she's getting to a point where she's just like, what? I just don't understand these men, like, what they want. Like it's not that complicated with what we want, right? Like for you, it should not be that difficult for you to find a man. But it's going to be difficult because you want a certain type of man that checks all the boxes, every single box, all the boxes that person checked. That man doesn't exist, right? And if you go to a list of what men want when it comes to women, it's going to be a very short list. It's not going to be that long, right? Because we understand that you can't get everything you want when it comes to the type of person you want to be with, right? Like there's trade-offs, right? We understand that. Like you can't get there's no perfect person. Right, and men aren't looking for the perfect person. They're just looking for a person that they can build with, work with, try to build a family with, and then go through the struggles and the pains together and try to make it work. But for the women, they want a certain type of man that checks every single box, and every box has to be checked. Which is why you see a lot of these women struggling, not able to find a man that they want, because they all want the same type of dude, right? They want the man that's just the perfect person, and in this world there's no one that's perfect. Okay, so like, look at, man, like you just listen to her, like it's almost like it sounds like she's just trying to rage bait, because a lot of the stuff that's coming out of her mouth sound like nonsense. It almost sounds like she was talking about a woman, right? Because I'm listening to her talk, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that doesn't even sound like men. Like the stuff that's coming out of your mouth, it sounds like you're talking about a woman, or she's maybe projecting and talking about herself, which is probably the case. So it's just always funny to listen to these, some of these people talk, and it's just like you clearly don't understand men. Just say you don't understand men. It's obvious, because that's why you're struggling. All right. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. Right. So guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.